You just put your hand on the phone again. That same movement you swore you were finished with. I watched you tonight, child. I watched you sit in that chair by the window that faces the street, the one you tell yourself is just for reading, but you know and I know it faces the driveway for a reason. The house settled into its evening quiet. The dishes were done. The television was on low, some show you have seen before and don't really care about. And your hand moved toward the phone before you even realized what you were doing. Then you caught yourself. You pulled your hand back. You pressed your lips together and you sat there, the way you do, with the tightness in your chest that you have learned to swallow down. I need you to know something that has been true since before you took your first breath. There is a medical report on your heart. It is the most complete, the most detailed, the most personal record ever written about anyone. I wrote it myself. I wrote it before the foundations of the earth were laid. I wrote it in the quiet council of eternity, when I knit you together in your mother's womb. And this report has been hidden from you, child, because you were not ready to read it. The time was not right. The healing was not complete. The preparation was not finished. But tonight, something has shifted. Tonight, I am opening the file. And what you are about to hear will break you, yes. But it will be the kind of breaking that sets a person free. The kind of breaking that only happens when you finally realize you have been loved in ways you never had language for. You have been carrying a diagnosis for years. You did not know it was a diagnosis. You thought it was just life. You thought it was just your lot. You thought maybe you had done something wrong, or failed to do something right, and this was the consequence that would follow you all the way to the end. But I have always known the exact nature of your heart's condition. I know the night you lay awake and the ceiling seemed to press down on you. I know the Sunday afternoons when the light came through the living room and you looked at the empty chair across from yours and you felt it like a physical ache in your bones. I know the weddings you attended with a brave face, the ones where you smiled and clapped and congratulated and then drove home in a car that felt far too silent. I know the holidays when you set the table for one and told yourself it would be okay, and it was okay, and it also was not okay, and you carried both of those truths at the same time because that is what strong people do. You have become very good at carrying both of those truths. You have become very good at holding the ache and the smile together. You have become very good at saying you are fine when you are not fine, and at believing that your honesty would only burden the people who love you. But you do not have to be fine with me. You have never had to be fine with me. I am the one who saw you, at 3 a.m, when no one else on earth was awake, when the only sound in the whole world was the hum of the refrigerator and the distant passing of a car. I saw your face in the dark. I saw the single tear that escaped and ran down your temple and disappeared into your hairline. I saw the way you wiped it quickly, the way you caught yourself, as if even the darkness was not private enough for your grief. My child, I am going to ask you something directly, and I want you to answer me honestly. Not with the answer you think a good Christian should give. Not with the answer you practiced in church. Not with the shiny version you give your friends over coffee. The truth. When was the last time you really let yourself want it? And when was the last time you let that wanting out, actually out, into the open air, without apologizing for it, without immediately reminding yourself to be grateful for what you already have, without punishing yourself for still desiring the deep companionship of a soulmate at your age? You can tell me. You can say it right now, in this moment, wherever you are sitting or lying or standing. I am listening. I have always been listening. I lean in closer when you speak the real things, the unpolished things, the things you are embarrassed to admit, and your name for them, and the way they still twist in your chest at certain hours of the day and certain seasons of the year. Let me tell you what the medical report says. Let me read to you from the record I have kept. It says that on the day you were born, something in your spirit began looking. Before you could form the words, before you understood the concept, there was a reaching in you, a quiet outward motion of the soul, a compass needle that pointed toward another heart. It is the image of your Creator. It is the echo of the garden, where I looked at the man I had made and said it is not good for him to be alone. You were not made to be alone. I have never intended that for you. And so the report tracks the whole journey. The early years, when you did not think about it at all because it was simply part of the landscape, the way the sky is blue and the grass is green and people grow up and fall in love, and that is the order of things. The first time you held someone's hand. The first time you said the words. The first time your heart was handed back to you, cracked, broken, not in the shape it had been before. I was there for that. I caught every fragment. The report documents the long middle years. The routines. The obligations. The children who came and grew and left, the way they always do. The careers that demanded and consumed. The many ways life became full in a way that kept the ache at bay, because you were needed, and being needed is a powerful anesthesia. And then, child, it documents the emptying. I know you do not use that word. You would not call it that. You would say things changed. You would say the pace slowed down. You would say you are enjoying the peace, the quiet, the lack of demands. And there is truth in that. There is a season of rest I have given you, and I do not want you to feel guilty for the parts of it that feel good. But I know about the emptiness too. I know about the phone that does not ring the way it used to. The children who call on Sundays when they remember, and you are so grateful for those calls that you do not tell them they are not enough. The friends who moved away, or passed away, or simply drifted into their own lives until the shared history could not bridge the distance anymore. The church where you sit in the same pew, and the faces around you are younger now, and sometimes you feel like a ghost in a room full of people who do not know the chapters you have lived. And there is a specific ache you have carried. The one about love. The one that wonders if your chapter of romance has simply closed. The one that tells you, in the unkindest voice, that you had your chance, that it passed, that the train left the station years ago, and that people your age do not get to start over. They do not get to feel the flutter again. They do not get to be desired, cherished, chosen, adored. The one that says your soulmate is a ship that has already sailed. And the one that whispers, in the darkest hours, that maybe you were not lovable enough for that to be true for you. That other people found their person. That other people get to grow old with someone beside them in the night. That you must be the exception, the one who missed it, the one for whom this particular door simply never opened. I know that is what you have been hearing. I know because I know every lie that has ever been spoken over you, and I grieve over each one as if it were a wound in my own heart. Because it is. When you ache, I ache. When you doubt your worth, I feel it like a blow. The enemy has been feeding you this poison for years, and you have been swallowing it slowly, trying to coat it with scripture, trying to cover it with gratitude, trying to outrun it with service and ministry and good works. But the poison is still there. And the medical report diagnoses it clearly. You, my child, have been treated for the wrong illness. You believe the illness is loneliness. You believe the cure is a person. You have been praying for a person. You have been waiting for a person. You have been scanning rooms, scanning church lobbies, scanning the produce section of the grocery store, not even consciously, but the eye does what the heart directs. You have been hoping God would deliver the right person at the right time, and that this person would finally heal the ache. But that is not the illness. The illness is deeper than that. The illness is the rupture. The wound from the garden, from every fall, from every betrayal, from every loss that taught you that love is unreliable, that people leave, that hope is dangerous. The illness is your heart strange packed with pain. Somewhere along the way, child, you decided that what other people call love and receive freely, you must earn. Must prove yourself worthy of. Must keep at a distance so it cannot destroy you again. And I have been trying to show you this for years. In the quiet moments when you felt a sudden warmth, a presence, a peace that did not come from your own effort. That was me. That was me telling you that you are whole. That was me telling you that you do not need another person to complete you, because I have already completed you. I have filled your emptiness with my own self, and the desire you still carry for human companionship is not a failing, it is not a flaw, it is not a sign that my work in you is unfinished. It is a gift. It is a sign. It is a compass still pointing toward the one I have prepared. But here is the truth that will break you, child. Here it is. The person you have been waiting for has been waiting for you too. They are real. They are not a fantasy. They are not a wish you made up to soothe yourself in the dark. They walk on this earth. They breathe. They have a name, a face, a history, a story as complex as yours. And many nights, in a room you have never seen, in a house you have never entered, in a life that has not yet intersected with yours, they have sat with the same ache. They have wondered the same things about themselves. They have asked the same question, am I too old? Is it too late? Did I miss it? Am I the exception? And I have watched both of you. For years. I have watched you in your separate lives, your separate prayers, your separate battles. I have seen the ways you both grew, the ways you both healed, the way you both learned to trust me in the waiting. And I have held the exact moment in my hand, the moment when your paths will cross, the moment when the meeting will finally happen, the moment when the years of waiting will become the preface to something eternal. Because here is what the medical report really says, the part 1 have been saving. Your heart is not broken beyond repair. It has been hurt, yes. It has been wounded, deeply. But it is still capable of love. It is still capable of receiving love. The capacity you thought you lost, the softness you thought had calcified, the warmth you thought had gone cold, it is all still there. I preserved it. Like a mother bird covering her young, I sheltered that tender place in you from the winters of your life. And now that it is spring, now that the season has turned, I am going to bring the warmth, and the warmth is going to call that tender place back to life. It is going to break you, child, because you gave up. I know you did. Somewhere in the last few years, quietly, without announcing it, without even fully admitting it to yourself, you stopped believing it could happen. You lowered the volume of that specific prayer. You stopped bringing it to me, because it felt too foolish, too adolescent, too much for someone your age to ask. You started praying for acceptance instead. You started praying for peace with the way things are. You told yourself that was the mature prayer, the holy prayer, the faithful prayer. But my child, why would you pray for acceptance of a chapter one have not closed? Why would you ask me to take away a desire that I placed in your heart as a gift and a promise? Do you think I am a God who teases? Do you think I planted the longing in you as a cruel joke, to watch you squirm, to see how long you would wait before giving up? That is not who I am. That is not who I have ever been. I am the God who gave Abraham and Sarah a son when Abraham was 100 years old and Sarah was 90, when her body was long past the age of bearing, when the laughter of unbelief had turned into the laughter of joy. I am the God who gave Hannah her Samuel after years of barrenness, after years of watching other women hold their children, after years of weeping so hard that the priest thought she was drunk. I am the God who opens the womb, who opens the door, who opens the heart, and no earthly timeline, no biological clock, no social expectation can constrain me. And tonight I want to tell you a story. A story that has been sitting in the pages of my word for thousands of years, waiting for this exact moment, waiting for you to hear it with new ears. Her name was Ruth. She was a widow. She was young, yes, but hear me, because her experience mirrors yours more than you know. She had married into an Israelite family while living in the land of Moab, a foreigner, an outsider. And then her husband died. Then her father-in-law died. And she was left with her mother-in-law, Naomi, who was also a widow, and Orpah, her sister-in-law, who was also a widow. 3 women. 3 funerals behind them. No husbands. No children to carry on the name. No security. No future in that culture, in that time, where a woman alone was one of the most vulnerable positions a human being could occupy. Naomi decided to return to Israel, to the land of her people, to the village of Bethlehem. She urged her daughters-in-law to go back to their own families, to remarry, to rebuild their lives. Orpah kissed her mother-in-law and left, as heartbreaking as it was, as understandable as it was. But Ruth refused. And the words she spoke have echoed through all of history. Where you go I will go, and where you stay I will stay. Your people will be my people and your God my God. Where you die I will die, and there I will be buried. She chose loyalty. She chose love. She chose a future she could not see, anchored to a woman who had nothing left to offer her. Do you understand how much courage that took? Do you understand what Ruth walked away from? A future. A chance at a new husband. Security. Comfort. Belonging among her own people. She gave it all up to walk into an unknown land, to a people who would look at her and see a foreigner, to a life where she had no status, no safety net, no guarantee. She walked into the unknown because she loved. And I honored that love. She and Naomi arrived in Bethlehem at the beginning of the barley harvest, their pockets empty, their future uncertain. And Ruth did what the poor did in those days to survive. She went out to glean. She walked behind the reapers in the fields, gathering the leftover grain that had fallen to the ground. It was exhausting, sun up to sundown, bent over in the heat, her back aching, her hands raw. She did it for herself and for Naomi. She did it without complaint. And here is what she did not know. She did not know that the field she walked into was owned by a man named Boaz. She did not know that Boaz was a relative of Naomi, a close relative, a man in a position to redeem the family name, to buy back the land, to marry the widow and raise up offspring for the deceased. She did not know any of that. She just saw a field. She saw grain. She saw a way to put food on the table. She walked into that field, exhausted and grieving and hopeful in the smallest, most practical way, and she began to work. But Boaz saw her. He came from Bethlehem to the field that day. And when he arrived, he asked, "Who is that young woman?" The text says he asked the reapers. He noticed her. He asked about her. He learned her story. And then, child, he did something extraordinary. He told her not to go glean in any other field. He told her to stay close to his young women. He gave her water when she was thirsty. He invited her to eat at his table. He instructed his men not to touch her, not to harm her, to let her glean freely, and he told the reapers to pull out grain from the bundles on purpose and leave it for her to gather. He was watching over her before she ever knew his name. Boaz was aware of Ruth long before Ruth was aware of Boaz. He knew her story. He knew about her loyalty to Naomi. He had heard of it. It had reached his ears before she ever stepped into his field. And in his heart, something stirred. Not pity. Not obligation. Something deeper. He was a good man, a man of worth, and he saw her worth. Now I want you to notice something, child. Ruth did not chase Boaz. She did not try to make herself noticed. She did not flaunt herself. She did not manipulate or scheme. She put her head down. She served her mother-in-law. She worked. She trusted. She laid her day into my hands and she simply did the next right thing, one heavy step at a time, without knowing that I was already moving the heart of a man who would change her life forever. And you, my child, have done the same. You have served when it cost you. You have loved when love was not returned. You have stayed faithful when faith produced no visible reward. You have put one foot in front of the other in your ordinary days, working, caring, showing up, being present, even when part of you felt invisible. Even when no one seemed to notice. But I noticed. I have always noticed. The way you remembered that person's birthday when no one else did. The way you brought the casserole to the grieving family even though you were grieving yourself. The way you sat with the lonely neighbor, the one no one else had time for, and listened to them talk about their aches and pains, their memories, their quiet routines. The way you gave generously, and quietly, without letting anyone know it was you. The way you kept showing up at church, week after week, even in the seasons when it felt like the ceiling was brass and your prayers went no higher than the rafters. You have been gleaning, child. You have been bending low in the field of your everyday life, gathering the small mercies, doing the faithful work, trusting me in ways you did not even recognize as trust. And your Boaz has been watching. He has not been watching from a distance like a stranger. He has been watching the way I have been preparing him. He has been healing his own wounds, learning his own lessons, growing in his own faith. He has been becoming the kind of person who could recognize you. And I want you to understand that what I am building is not a rescue operation, not a bandage, not a distraction. It is a joining. Two people, made whole in me first, coming together from a place of fullness, not from a place of desperate need. That is why the waiting has been so long. The waiting has not been punishment. The waiting has been preparation. You have needed to become the person who could recognize your Boaz. And he has needed to become the person who could recognize you. And I have been working on both of you, in parallel, across the years. I have been teaching you both the same lessons. How to trust. How to give. How to receive. How to forgive. How to be alone without becoming bitter. How to carry your own wholeness instead of looking for someone else to carry it for you. Can you see it now? Can you see the pattern? The enemy has been telling you that the waiting means I have forgotten you. But the waiting has been my mercy. The waiting saved you from arriving too early, before you or he were ready, and the marriage that would have come too soon could have been a marriage that could not bear the weight you are both now ready to carry. I know that is hard to hear. I know you wanted the answer sooner. I know the years have felt wasted, the seasons lost, the youth gone, the vitality fading. But nothing has been wasted, child. Not one single tear. When Ruth gleaned in that field, her hands were calloused, her back was aching, her face was streaked with dirt and sweat. And Boaz saw her exactly like that. He did not see her at her finest, in her best dress, at the height of her beauty. He saw her at her lowest, in the field, among the poor, doing hard labor to survive, and he loved what he saw. Because it was real. Because it was true. Because faithfulness in the ordinary, faithfulness in the unseen, faithfulness in the difficult days, that is the most beautiful thing a human soul can wear. And you have been wearing it. In the quiet of your house. In the routines of your week. In the small choices no one applauds. In the days that blur into weeks and the weeks that blur into months. You have been becoming the person your Boaz is praying for, even while he wonders if you exist. You do exist. You have always existed in my mind, in my plan, in the great book of my purposes. And now we are coming to the moment of the turning. I want you to remember how the story continues. After Ruth did as Naomi instructed, after she went to the threshing floor, after she took the risk and lay at the feet of Boaz in the quiet of the night, Boaz did not hesitate. He did not treat her as a passing opportunity. He called her his daughter. He blessed her. He protected her honor. And the next morning, he went to the city gate, and he conducted the legal business needed to redeem her, to buy back the land, to take her as his wife, in full public view, in the proper order, with witnesses to testify. He did it properly, child. He did it honorably. He did not hide what he felt for her, and he did not put her in a position where his feelings would compromise her reputation. He took responsibility. He acted as a man of worth, a kinsman redeemer, a picture of the greater redemption I would one day accomplish on a cross. And he did not do it alone. I was in it with him. I did not just arrange the romance and then step back to watch. I carried the whole thing forward. Every heart. Every decision. Every door that had to open and every door that had to close. Ruth and Boaz were married. And in time, Ruth conceived and bore a son. They named him Obed. And Obed became the father of Jesse. And Jesse became the father of David. And David was the great king of Israel, the ancestor of my own flesh. Ruth, the Moabite widow, the foreigner who chose love and loyalty, became a link in the chain that led to the Messiah. Her faithfulness, in the small, unglamorous years, became part of the greatest story ever told. And your faithfulness, child, your quiet endurance in an empty house, is not separate from the great story I am telling. It is woven into it. The healing you receive, the love you let in, the marriage you are part of, it will not just matter to you. It will ripple outward. It will shape your children and your grandchildren. It will witness to your community. It will show the people around you that I am a God who redeems, who restores, who gives beauty for ashes. You are not just waiting for a soulmate. You are preparing for an inheritance. And the soulmate, the one I have prepared, the one I have hidden in plain sight until the time is right, he is not a random stranger wandering toward you. He is a gift I have been crafting with the same patient artistry I have used on you. He is your redemption coming. Not to save you, because I have already saved you. Not to complete you, because you are already complete in me. But to walk beside you. To know you. To love you in the flesh, the way you were always intended to be known and loved. I told you the truth would break you. I know it is breaking you right now. I know the tears are coming, or have already come. And that is okay. That is exactly what needs to happen. The dam has been up for so long. The wall you built has been high and thick, protecting the tender place I planted in you. And you have mistaken the wall for the truth. You have mistaken the silence for absence. You have mistaken the waiting for rejection. But look at me, child. Turn your eyes away from the door that has not opened yet. Look at my face. I know you feel alone. I know that some nights you feel invisible in the world, a face in the congregation, a name in a directory, a person who once had purpose and now wonders what the purpose was for. I am going to say something to you that I need you to receive deeply. You are not invisible to me. You have never been invisible to me. When you were young, when life was loud and full, you could feel me in the crowd, somewhere in the noise. And I understood. You had people around you then. Back in those years, when the house was full of voices, when the phone rang constantly, when the calendar was crowded and the exhaustion was real but so was the belonging, back then you did not need to reach for me the way you do now. But I have always preferred the quiet. The quiet is where I do my best work. The quiet is where I sat with Elijah after his great victory, when he was terrified and depleted and wanted to die, and I gave him cake on the coals and water, and then I spoke not in the earthquake or the fire but in the gentle whisper. The quiet is where I met the Samaritan woman at the well at midday, when no other woman would be there because of the shame she carried, and I told her everything she had ever done, and I gave her living water, and she ran back to her town and told everyone, and many came to believe because of her testimony. The quiet is where I met Mary Magdalene in the garden on the morning of the resurrection, when she was weeping because she thought everyone was gone, and I called her name. Just her name. Mary. And she knew my voice. I call you by your name too, child. And yes, tonight, in the quiet of your room, in the quiet of your heart, you are hearing me. You are hearing me say the thing you have not dared to hope for years. That it is not too late. That you are not too old. That you have not been forgotten. That the love you still long for, the love you still feel foolish for wanting at this stage of life, that love is not a fantasy. It has a name. It has a face. It has a future. Now I want you to do something with me. I want you to feel the shift, because something has already changed in you tonight, in the spiritual realm, in the atmosphere of your own home, something moved. The report has been opened. The seal has been broken. The hidden thing has been brought into the light. And here is the truth about hidden things. Once they are uncovered, they cannot be hidden again. The waiting season is coming to a close, child. Not because I am rushing and not because you have finally prayed hard enough, but because you are ready. The work in you is complete enough, and the one I have prepared for you is ready too, and the Father of lights, who gives good gifts to his children, is about to give you the desire of your heart. I say that with all the weight of my own word behind it. Delight yourself in the Lord, and he will give you the desires of your heart. And the desires of your heart, the real ones, the ones planted by me and not by the brokenness of the world, those desires are about to meet their fulfillment. When it happens, you will know. There will be a recognition. Not superficial, not simply physical attraction, though that will be there too. It will be something deeper. It will feel like coming home to a place you have never been. It will feel like the final piece of an old prayer slotting into place. Your soul will sense the one I have prepared, and his soul will sense you, and the meeting of your two hearts will be a testimony to every dark night you both survived. I am not going to tell you the exact date, because it is not for you to know the day or the hour, and because part of the gift is the trusting. The walking by faith and not by sight. The surrender of the timeline that has caused you so much grief. But I will tell you this. The groundwork is done. The table is being set. The circumstances that need to align are aligning even now, as you draw breath in this moment. People are being moved. Doors are being prepared. The ordinary details of your life and his are converging, the way two threads come together in a pattern that has been designed from the very beginning. You have been faithful in the gleaning. Your Boaz is putting the arrangements in motion. And now, my child, there is something I want you to say back to me. Not because I need to hear it, but because you need to say it. Out loud. In your own voice. In your own words. Say this. Speak it out loud. My waiting is not wasted. My story is not over. I am not forgotten. I am seen. I am loved. And I release the timeline I have been clutching. I hand back the years I thought I lost. I open my hands to the future you have prepared, and I trust you with the rest. Say it. Say it even if your voice shakes. Say it even if tears are streaming down your face. Say it even if part of you does not believe it yet. Because there is power in the spoken word. Power to break the old agreements. Power to welcome the new season. Power to align your spirit with the truth that has always been true in heaven. You have said it. I heard you. And the angels have heard you, and they are moving. I want to tell you about a woman I met once, not from Ruth's story, but from a different one, because it shows another face of the same mercy. Her name was Anna. She was a widow, child. She had been married for only 7 years when her husband died, and then she lived as a widow for 84 years. A lifetime of waiting. A lifetime in the temple, serving God with fasting and prayer, night and day. She was long past the age of beauty by the world's reckoning. She had no husband, no children, no household of her own. She was, by every earthly measure, someone whose life had not gone the way she probably dreamed it would. And yet, when I was brought into the temple as a baby, 8 days old, in the arms of my mother Mary, this woman, this aged woman, this woman who had waited decades, she recognized me. She gave thanks to God. She spoke about me to all who were looking for the redemption of Jerusalem. Her waiting had not been wasted. Her lonely years had not been meaningless. She was positioned, still praying, still watching, still ready, and she received the greatest gift ever given. She saw the Messiah. Not many people in that moment recognized who I was. But Anna did. Because she had kept her heart soft in all those long years. She had not grown bitter. She had not given up. She had stayed in the temple. She had stayed close to me. And that is what your waiting has been producing in you, child. A heart that can recognize my hand when it moves. A spirit that will not miss the moment. You are being made ready, like Anna, to be positioned at the exact right place at the exact right time. We are coming now to the closing of this sacred hour. I have said so much, and yet there is so much more I could say. But I want to leave you with something you can carry out of this room, something you can hold on to in the days ahead. First, I want you to stop rehearsing the past. I know you think about what went wrong. I know you replay conversations. I know you wonder if things would have turned out differently if you had spoken sooner, forgiven sooner, understood sooner. But child, I have been redeeming that past. I have been weaving it into this new thing. And I am telling you, the regret is not from me. Release it into my hands. I am the God who restores the years the locusts have eaten. I did not say that casually. I meant it. The years will be restored. Not replayed, not replaced, but restored. Redeemed. Used for good that you cannot yet see. Second, I want you to become aware of the small openings that are coming. I am going to give you nudges. A prompting to go somewhere you normally would not go. A suggestion to say yes to an invitation you would normally decline. A sudden desire to reach out to someone you have not spoken to in years. Do not dismiss these as coincidence. These are the threads of the pattern coming together. When I nudge, move. When I prompt, respond. The field is prepared, the grain is ripe, and your Boaz is closer than you think. Third, I want you to make room. Not just in your house, but in your life. Clear the clutter. The old bitterness, the fears about aging, the stories you have been telling yourself about why love is no longer for you. Make room. Open the space. If you are holding on to the memory of a past marriage, of an old love, in a way that has become an idol, I am asking you to gently hand it to me. You are not betraying that memory by continuing to live. You are not dishonoring anyone by allowing your heart to beat again. And fourth, and finally, I am giving you a commission, child. There is someone you know who is carrying the same weight you have been carrying. A friend. A sibling. A neighbor. A member of your church. Someone who smiles when you greet them, someone who gives the right answers when asked how they are doing, but someone whose eyes you have caught looking distant in unguarded moments. Someone who has been alone too long. Someone who has given up the way you had given up. I am sending you to them. Not with a lecture. Not with advice. Not with a list of scriptures they need to follow to fix their lives. with presence, with listening ears, with the quiet testimony of what I have spoken to you tonight. Tell them that the waiting is not punishment. Tell them that they have been seen. Tell them the report on their heart was written in love before they were born. Tell them that the God who watches over sparrows sees the empty chair across their table, and that he has not forgotten. What you have received, give away. That is the rhythm of my kingdom. In the moment you speak life over another heart, your own heart will break open a little more. And in that breaking, there will be room for the love I am bringing. Now let me pray over you, child, as we close this time together. Father, I bring this precious child of yours before your throne. You have seen every tear, every sleepless night, every silent meal eaten alone, every wedding attended with a brave heart, every holiday where the empty chair seemed louder than any voice in the room. I ask you now, in the name of Jesus, for the deep, cellular healing of every wound this heart has carried. Mend what has been broken. Restore what has been stolen. Revive what has been dormant. Let the living water flow through every dried-up channel. Let new life pulse through the places that felt dead. Give this child wisdom in the days ahead. Wisdom for decisions. Wisdom for discernment. Discernment to recognize what I bring and to walk away from what the enemy sends as a counterfeit. Protect them, Lord. Protect their mind from the lies of loneliness and unworthiness. Protect their body as they age. Give them strength, energy, health, vitality for the season that is coming. Guard their family. Whatever relationships are strained, heal them. Whatever distance has grown, close it. Where children have wandered, draw them back. Where siblings are estranged, open the door of reconciliation. This child needs their people around them as the new season begins. Bless their finances, Lord. Provide every resource they need. Release provision from unexpected sources. Let them be a generosity to others. And most of all, Father, align this child's heart fully with yours. Make them deeply aware of your presence in the ordinary moments. In the morning coffee. In the sunlight on the kitchen floor. In the quiet of evening. Let the aloneness become solitude, and the solitude become sacred space where you commune with them. Bring the one I have prepared. In your perfect timing. In a way that cannot be mistaken for coincidence. With a peace that passes understanding. And now, child, hear these final words. Let them sink down into your bones and stay there. The hidden report has been opened. The truth is that you have always been loved. The truth is that your story is not finished. The truth is that your soulmate is coming. And when he arrives, when you finally stand face to face with the one I have kept for you, you will understand why I asked you to wait. You will not resent a single year. You will look at that person and you will know, with a certainty that cannot be explained, that every sorrow, every heartbreak, every lonely night, every tear, every prayer that seemed to go unanswered, every hand that reached for a phone in an empty room, all of it, was the road that led you here. And I will be there, watching, the way I have always watched. The way I will never stop watching. You are my child. You are my beloved. You are the desire of my heart, and the desire of your heart is held safely in my hands. Go now. Go in peace. Go in hope. The waiting is over. The field is ready. The harvest is coming. And your Boaz is already on his way.